One of the biggest worries for Americans that live abroad or travel as a digital nomad is healthcare. This is because the US healthcare system is bananas. This is not a video about fixing the American healthcare system because I do not know how to do that. I will share a couple pointers and a couple stories just to make you not worry as much. The reality is, in most countries across the world, healthcare is just a hell of a lot cheaper. It's either less middlemen, or because of the purchasing power of those countries, the costs are just a lot lower. I've gotten healthcare in multiple different countries. In many countries, for prescriptions, you can just go directly to the pharmacy and ask for it. And depending on the regulations, you need a prescription or not. You can keep trying different pharmacies. In Mexico, you can often just go and get prescriptions. Taiwan, you can find a pharmacy that will give you what you need, especially if it's something common, like thyroid medicine like I take. Also, common treatment. If you need to go to a hospital for something, it probably just won't cost you that much. I got bit by a dog when I was in Taiwan, and I went to the hospital and getting stitches, and I actually needed an update on my tetanus shot. Cost me $50 and a couple hours. Generally, once you've had a couple experiences with healthcare systems abroad, you learn that it's just not as crazy as the US. You're not going to be bankrupted by a random stay in a hospital. If you are worried about costs, there are different options for insurance. There are plans that will help you cover expenses for anything catastrophic. I actually travel with a Cigna Global plan, and this covers me on the catastrophic end. So if I have to go back to the States and have cancer treatment or anything crazy like that, I think it covers me up to a few $1,000,000. If you're looking for insurance that will help cover more day-to-day care, say just going to a doctor for a cold, you can find much cheaper short-term travel insurance. So if you search around, there's a bunch of different options. I don't have a preferred one. They're all pretty similar, and they'll give you pretty set prices for the place you're going to travel. The biggest takeaway is that when you travel, you are taking more risk. You're not going to be as comfortable getting health care in other countries. I went through some dental issues while I was in Spain, and it was pretty stressful because I couldn't communicate fully. They couldn't understand me in English, and things took a little longer than they would have if I were in the US. Worst case, you can always travel back to the US and engage with the US healthcare system. Now, there's a couple ways to do that. If you move back to the US, you automatically are eligible for an exchange plan. That is what people often call Obamacare. And you can buy insurance. A little heads up, the best way to do that is to apply the month before you're actually going to be there so that the insurance is ready when you arrive. Lesson learned, made a mistake there. A couple other notes on the US healthcare system. There are some advantages to not having insurance and actually some hidden cost savings. If you don't have insurance and you have a prescription, you can get an unlimited quantity of that prescription. You can also ask the pharmacist to use a uninsured price discount card, which they usually have. And sometimes that price is even cheaper than a copay you would pay with insurance. How that exists, no idea. The other thing you can ask is for a cash price. And often places where you need to get a procedure done will give you an upfront price on something that you pay that is much, much cheaper than they're going to bill the insurance company. Often they'll offer a cash price. Maybe it's a scan and MRI, be $300 or something. If they use insurance, they're going to bill them for $5,000, hope to get $1,000, and then have you pay a couple hundred anyway. So it could end up being even better than having insurance. I also have friends who have negotiated upfront payments for certain amounts of care. A friend who had a child without insurance in the US and said how much for this range of services all the way up until delivery and some post-care, and got a set price for that. So there's ways around it in the US. It's obviously one of the most stressful places to be and get healthcare, but abroad you often have just as many options, and it's often easier and cheaper to get access to care.